Good morning, students. Welcome back to our Maintain Guest Financial Records class with Teacher Josh, which is me. So, hello. Hope you guys are having a good morning. What I want to discuss today is I want to go further into the guest accounting cycle. So, I touched upon this briefly last class, and for this class, I really want you guys to remember or memorize these four things: the pre-arrival, the arrival account creation, the occupancy account maintenance, and departure account settlement. So I'm going to be discussing more about these this class. So if you remember, we talked about pre-arrival last class. That is when the guest is booking the hotel. And remember, we talked about these words prepayment and deposit. So when a guest books a hotel, sometimes the hotel makes them pay a deposit, which is some money before you arrive, or prepayment, meaning that you pay for the room before you show up. And this is just a way for guests to make sure that you do show up to the hotel, and that you don't just book the hotel room and then not show up, and then the hotel loses out on money from other guests who could have stayed. So this is just to make sure that that the hotel does receive some money from the guests before they arrive. And then the next step is the arrival account creation. So actually, let me move to the next slide here. So we have arrival account creation. The guest checks into the hotel and a guest account is created. So the guest has already booked the hotel and now they have arrived. They have shown up at your hotel. And when they check in, the front office lady will check them into their room, but also make a guest account. So when the guest starts making charges to their room, it all goes through the property management software system, and which is tied to the guest account. And I know that's really confusing, and we are going to talk more next class about guest accounts and how we keep track of the guest account and a diagram to hopefully help you. But right now, I just want you to look at these words and get familiar with these words, because we're going to talk about these words a lot in this class. So the arrival account creation is when the guest checks in and we create the guest account. And the guest account is where all the charges will go. So that moves us into nicely to occupancy account maintenance. So when I say the word charge, what I really mean is that the guest is buying something, right? They either go to the restaurant and they buy food, they go to the hotel bar and they buy drinks, they go to the hotel guest shop and they buy a sunscreen or a hat, they order room service, right? These are all charges that the guest makes. Maybe they go to the spa or buy a movie. These are all different charges. And no matter where in the hotel that they buy these things, it all goes onto their guest account. So the guest doesn't have to keep buying things constantly. They just pay one time at the end, and that is the departure account settlement. So once the guest has stayed at the hotel, say they stayed at the hotel 1 week, so the guest will check out and they will see all the charges that they paid for during that 1 week stay. So all the restaurants, all the drinks, all the spas, right? Any charge they made in the hotel will be on the invoice, if you remember invoice from our last class. And the guest will look over the invoice, make sure it looks correct.